Ethan Grayson's childhood was a struggle for survival. At the age of 10, he witnessed his father die in front of him during a robbery. Ethan's faith in the justice system was shattered when the killers went unpunished thanks to their powerful connections. As if that pain wasn't enough, a year later he lost his sister Emily in a car accident, and the people who hit and killed her got away with little or no punishment, using loopholes in the law. The tragedies in his family left Ethan with a deep emptiness inside and a rage filled with a desire for justice. His mother Maggie, devastated by the loss of her husband and daughter, tried to stand up for Ethan. But she could not stop her son from becoming increasingly withdrawn. Years passed. Ethan worked as a policeman in departments like the city police and then the state police. Now he wanted to become a federal agent, an FBI agent. Thanks to his experience on the force, Ethan auditioned for the FBI and became an FBI federal agent. Never forgetting the loss of his father and sister, he wore the badge on his chest every morning and went to work. But the fact that the criminals he caught were released because the system was flawed and rotten fueled his anger. One evening, his mother Maggie, noticing the tiredness and darkness on Ethan's face, said to him, "Don't let your quest for justice destroy you, Ethan." After a brief silence, Ethan took a deep breath and replied, "Some battles are not won without losses, Mom." Maggie could feel her son fighting the darkness inside him. One day, Ethan was presented with the files of a major rape case that once again exposed the corruption of the justice system. A suspect wanted for rape and murder had been freed thanks to his powerful connections. Chief Walter tried to explain it coldly, but Ethan could not contain his anger. "Is this justice? The victims are fighting for their lives and the criminals are walking free," he exclaimed. Chief Walter, noticing the anger in Ethan's eyes, said, "If you break the rules, you endanger not only yourself but also your loved ones." But Ethan now had one thing on his mind. Justice would be served, no matter the cost. That night, as Ethan walked the streets, he saw the faces of the criminals he had caught in the past. He thought he had delivered them into the hands of justice, but the hands of justice were stained and powerless. The anger and despair growing inside him was leading him down a dark path. When he closed his eyes, he remembered his father and Emily's laughter. The pain of the days he had lost them told him he had to destroy this rotten system. That night, Ethan decided to take the first step on his journey as both an FBI agent and an Avenger. Ethan took the first step to implement his revenge plan. His target was a drug lord who had been tried for many crimes but had been released each time. As he waited outside the Baron's Club in the dark of night, his mind wavered between justice and revenge. He gripped his gun tightly and went inside. Amidst the club's noisy atmosphere and neon lights, he observed his target from a distance. The Baron was seated at a luxurious table, talking animatedly with his men. Ethan approached with determination, quietly planned an exit strategy, and acted unexpectedly. When the trigger was pulled, the Baron's laughter gave way to silence. As Ethan quickly disappeared, the chaos inside filled the darkness of the club. After the incident, Ethan stood on the roof of an apartment building and took a deep breath. The lights of the club were still on and sirens filled the streets. The destruction of the perpetrator had assuaged some of his anger, but he knew there was no turning back. Looking up at the star-filled sky, he thought that the justice he once believed in had been replaced by dark revenge. He thought of his mother and the innocent days of his past, but even these thoughts were not enough to stop him. Ethan disappeared into the darkness for his next step. Ethan's attack caused an uproar in the city. As the police searched for the person behind it, Ethan's best friend Lucas began to notice changes in his behavior. One morning, he met Ethan at a cafe. As Lucas tried to deepen the conversation, he noticed Ethan's absent-mindedness. "Is everything okay, buddy? I've been feeling like you're someone else for a while," Lucas said, fixing his eyes on Ethan. Ethan hesitated for a moment, then said with a fake smile, "Just busy at work?" "Don't worry," he replied. But Lucas's suspicion grew. He knew his friend was keeping something from him. Ethan decided to be more careful after this meeting. Lucas's loyalty was unquestionable, but too many questions could jeopardize things. That night, as Ethan sat alone in his apartment, he thought about Lucas's devotion to him and the memories they had shared together in the past. But this new path required solitude. To keep Lucas safe, he had to keep him at a distance. While he tried to find solace in the warmth of their past friendship, he was also aware that Lucas's suspicion could be a major threat in the future. As Ethan carefully selected his latest target and made his plans, he was unaware that Lucas was continuing his investigations. Lucas began following clues from the past to unravel Ethan's strange behavior. A conversation with an old mutual friend shocked Lucas. He learned that Ethan was particularly obsessed with released criminals. There were hints that he may have been seeking revenge. This information left Lucas deeply conflicted. If it's true, what am I supposed to do? Can I protect him, or should I stop him? He asked himself. Lucas didn't want to lose Ethan, but he was almost certain that his friend was heading down a dark path. Meanwhile, Ethan was making a critical move to reach his final destination. Under cover of night, he infiltrated a meeting building in the back alleys of the city. Meanwhile, Lucas decided to spy on the building that Ethan had frequented in the past. As Lucas waited, hiding in the corner of the building, he saw Ethan moving in the shadows. Something told him he had to stop him, but Lucas could only watch. "What are you doing, Ethan?" he whispered to himself. That moment lit the first spark of betrayal for Lucas. He was being forced to question his friend's trust. As Ethan moved silently through the building to carry out his plan, Lucas gathered his courage and decided to follow him. The light footsteps echoing on the stairs caught Ethan's attention. As the distance between them closed, Ethan turned back to see a silhouette following him. "Who's there?" he asked in a harsh voice. Lucas emerged from his hiding place and faced Ethan. "I'm just here as a friend, Ethan," he said. But the stern look on Ethan's face made Lucas feel like he couldn't stop him. "A friend? Now?" Ethan replied sarcastically. There was a brief but tense silence between the two, Lucas trying to win Ethan's trust, Ethan questioning how much he could trust this old friend who was watching him. Lucas couldn't wait any longer. "What's going on, Ethan?" "I'm here to tell you that you need to let this go," Lucas said. Ethan took a step forward, gritting his teeth. "You don't understand anything, Lucas. This isn't just an issue for me, this is my life," he yelled. Lucas tried to calm his friend, but the dark glint in Ethan's eyes told him that all his efforts were in vain. "If you try to stop me, I'll see you as an obstacle," Ethan threatened as he turned around and continued walking into the darkness. Lucas stared helplessly after him, beginning to realize that Ethan was now too far down a path to be saved. Ethan moved through the warehouse, determined despite the loyal friend's attempts to stop him. "There is no turning back now," he said in a cold voice. "These men have no right to live." In desperation, faithful friend tried to stop Ethan, but to no avail. So he secretly alerted Chief Walter to prevent his friend from committing further crimes. As Ethan made his way to the room where the politician was hiding, Chief Walter and the police surrounded the building. The cops slipped in quietly and cornered Ethan in the very room where the politician was. Chief Walter called through a megaphone, "Ethan, the game is over. Surrender to us. We've been watching you the whole time." Ethan didn't answer and quickly grabbed his gun. "This is the only way to get justice," he said, and opened fire on the police. The firefight was short but fierce. As Ethan tried to defend himself, a bullet hit him in the chest and he collapsed. His eyes stared into space as he took his last breath. Walter lowered his gun, saying, "In this world, justice is different for everyone.